negativity, and it's so easy. So let's celebrate. Let's go on.
You have some very interesting findings. And one of the things that starts to really blow me away is the fact that we're not just bodies kind of floating in a world of frequency and sound, but you're saying that this sound and this frequency that we're around, that we're stewing in, actually becomes part of our body.
Absolutely.
That's a little tweak of the thinking of the mindset. Tell me what that means. It becomes sound becomes part of our body. Sound energy.
Okay. Two ways to answer that. One is through resonance. So, resonance is you have a violin here and a violin here. If you play a note on this string, this one sings and nobody touches it. It's like a visible ghost came in and started to play that. But energy goes back and forth. As you excite the energy, it gets greater. So it amplifies. So if you're around the color green on St. Patty's Day, that equates to a musical F. And if you look at your frequencies in your body before and after a St. Patty's Day parade, you'll see that the F goes up in volume simply from the color you looked at. So that's one way of doing it. The
Uh-huh.
ancient ways, they had a little different way of describing pretty much the same thing. They said that underneath our reality is this subtle energy field, and famous scientists have called it free energy. But it's the energy that makes up our blueprint. It's what acupuncture is all about. If you have a blockage in the flow, acupuncture will correct that. And then once your body is able to receive like this nutrient energy from this subtle energy field, your body heals. So qigong, um, all of those kind of even martial arts and Ayurvedic techniques, they're all working on the subtle energy. So when you listen to sound, many sounds create little portals, and you start to draw in this subtle energy. So you get it directly through resonance, and that's like science. And then if you look at the way of the ancient teachings, different sound combinations will create like cancellation patterns, and in comes
Yes.
this finer subtle energy, and it becomes
Yes.
us. You know, if you're around jump and joy kindergartens, you get in a good mood. Go to a nursing home, you get in a bad mood because they're depressed, and you get depressed simply by going. It shares.
Yeah,
We're
we
not separate.
entrain. Yeah, we what's interesting of what you're saying is I think entrainment is one thing I always think about. Like we start to kind of like clocks, will start to tick at the same tempo. But the sound is actually not just passing through us, it's becoming part of us. And this is
Right.
where I'm really starting to understand that the toxins that we are being exposed to also are almost like their own sound. We can't hear them, but they
Correct.
have a vibration.
Correct.
And explain a little bit about what you're seeing with toxins and the vibration that they're carrying. And then, they are things that they're doing in our bodies. They are things that are happening to humans. We're going to talk about that, but explain a little bit about that with toxins. Why was that a focus for you?
When your body's in tune, you have certain frequencies for all your organs and your body processes. And guess what? They sound
Yeah.
beautiful. As
Yeah.
we age, as we have illness or this problem or that problem or trauma or whatever, we start to accumulate dissonance. And it's kind of like our bodies, operating on signals and communicating through frequencies like Morse code. And when you start getting in all kinds of clamor, discord, you block the signals. You have troubles getting them off in your body. Your body has troubles receiving them, and you start just adding discord. And so that's on a sound level. Take it down into the physical. Think that you just ate scrambled eggs, and there's a little piece of that Teflon in there, which your body can't use. It's toxic metal for your body. So it
Okay.
comes in, let's say it gets stuck in an artery. Well, then
Mm.
it starts to dig in. It's going to irritate the artery. It's going to cause that's inflammation. So you're going to have little cuts, sore bruises, sore spots. And inflammation is a precursor to almost all diseases. So you start to build up the inflammation and then you block the flow. So as the flow is blocked, the you can't eliminate the toxins. Your body has natural toxin systems to get rid of them. You can't eliminate them. All kinds of problems occur. And in addition to toxins, that's your heart issues. Um, so there's lots of ways of looking at the toxins as dissonance physically and emotionally and spiritually.
And you mentioned that toxins in our body also affect something else. They can affect the flow of information, almost like a disruptor, if you will, like a signal that isn't organic to the body. So therefore, it's almost like acting as sort of a chaos, a static, an interference pattern. That is something that only a sound healer would even recognize, right? Because it's so important. Tell me about that.
Well, just imagine you have a very important phone call, but there's so much static and the voice keeps breaking out and there's all kinds of noises and you can't really quite understand um, what's going on or what the person is saying. Then you'll find all different aspects in your body start misbehaving. So one of the symptoms, and I'm sure we'll go into this more later, there's so many symptoms from toxins. So when you start to get, we'll call it FLC syndrome. Hey, Darius, do you know what FLC syndrome is?
No, I
Feel
don't.
like crap. So when
Oh,
you get,
feel like okay, I get it. Everybody get that?
so
Yeah.
when
And
you
what's
just
the
start,
cause of that? That's like, how do you even figure that out? So many things.
well, that's kind of a result of toxins because it can go in and mess with just about everything. So your energy, your fatigue, achy joints, pains, toxins can interfere with everything. And that's from a scientific viewpoint and also from the ancient healing modality viewpoint. So in the Ayurvedic and the Chinese ancient traditions, health is flow and
Yes.
communication and
Yes.
people getting the signals and knowing what they're doing and getting the nutrients. And pain is caused by blockage. And if you get blockage enough, things start to shut down and not work. And so, what we're doing in this program, we're doing it in many, many ways, but we're working on establishing that flow, literally vibrating and loosening, literally, the toxins and working on the emotional level and freeing them from your tissues and so forth, augmenting your circulation system, your methylation system, and allowing your body to get rid of waste product. And it's all over. It's in your nerves. It's in your brain. It's in places that you wouldn't even consider.
Yeah.
It's in your pineal gland. It's in your tendons, your lungs. Um, it's everywhere.
You dug in very deep because one of the things that you will do is you see things in the clients that you work with, you see things kind of in the energy field of bodies, you see things coming up. You dig in and you create something miraculous that never been created in the planet before, and you add to this beautiful creation and make something very unique. What is it that you're actually seeing in terms of toxins and dis-ease? And of course, as I will always say, we're not doctors, we're not medical, diagnosing or anything like that. But Jill has done some research to see that toxins are not helping us stay healthier. What are you seeing these toxins start to perhaps have a creation element in that could be negative in our body?
Wow. Osteoporosis, arthritis, heart disease, Alzheimer's, feeling like you
Mm,
have a hangover,
mm,
allergies, achy joints, being tired, weight issues, getting sick often, autoimmune migraines, asthma, acne, irritable bowel, acid reflux,
mm.
arthritis, inflammation, diabetes, um, and there's more. I mean, that's That's just the beginning. There's weight gain, lack of energy, getting sick a lot, diarrhea, constipation, muscles, joints, skins, dark circles under your eyes, brain
Oh my
fogs,
gosh.
headaches. I mean, it
L-
gets in every place in your body and it causes these types of symptoms.
Let me know if any, and again, we're not like diagnosing or anything, but just let me know if you're feeling any of these things. I call them signposts. They're kind of like the signposts that I just don't feel right or something is going on. Let me know. Stephanie M said, yep, I got a lot of those symptoms, a lot of those signposts, we like to say. There's a few more. I mean, you mentioned as well things like inflammation, uh, gangrene, probably a lot of people have that, migraines, autoimmune, weight issues. I'm not sure if you mentioned those, but those are some that I think a lot of people all over the planet are dealing with. Where is this coming from? Is it vibrational? Is it physical and then vibrational? And then if all of that is true, where are we seeing most of this stuff come in from?
Oh my goodness. I think it's like the soup you were describing.
It's
It
hard to
comes
find
in
a source.
and we're drowning in it.
It's like a broth. You're like, I don't know where the taste came from. It's just a mix of everything. Yeah, yeah.
So you get it from gas, you get it from plastic, you get it from packaging, you
Mm.
get it from
Microplastics.
pharmaceuticals. I read a study the other day, and there was a pretty high percentage of communities that have pharmaceuticals in their water supply.
Yes,
So
because
you get it.
every time I got, can I say this real quick? Because this is the crazy thing to think about. Every time somebody takes pharmaceuticals, their body excretes some of it. Not all of it is absorbed. Where does it go? It goes into the water. And yes, it is true that there are treatment facilities to clean that out. But remember this, the vibration can still be in the water. And whatever doesn't get treated out actually goes into our drinking water. And I'll share another interesting statistic that I read recently. Jill, did you know that 1% of the average person's brain weight is now made up of microplastics? Now, that is, think about that,
Wow.
1%. So if your brain, let's say, weighed, we'll just put in a figure, let's say it weighed 100 pounds, does not, but if it did, 1 pound of microplastics would be in the average person's brain. So 1%, that's a huge number.
Wow. You see those pictures of all those poor animals in the ocean just
Yeah.
stuck in all this trash. And what you're describing is that exists in our brain
And in our bodies. Yeah.
and in our bodies.
What are some other sources
Well,
you see?
food, tuna and
Hmm.
salmon. They get mercury and you get growth hormones and antibiotics from meat and dairy. You get pesticides on foods. You get Teflon, cleaning products, the smell in your skin. Industry gives off fumes. And just food, plants, fungus, mushrooms, potatoes, shellfish, maybe uncooked beans. And then when your body does chemical processes, sometimes it creates toxins. So you can get it physically from outside. You can get it from food. You can get it from your body, waste products, and you can get it from emotions. So think that, okay, we talked about resonance where energy exchanges on the same frequency. Well, that happens if it's an octave as well. So a high C and a low C are the same note and they will exchange energy. So you can get toxins from outside your body, like an emotion, something like that. And let's say somebody's worrying, it's going to resonate with the lining of your tummy because every emotion has a frequency. Everything in your body in the physical component has frequency, and they're all going to have octaves. So there's going to be some little emotion that's going to resonate with everything physically in your body. So you can be around toxic people and after a while not feel physically well
That's
because the
true.
toxic emotion comes in, you interact with it, you start to become it. Maybe it rubs off on you, but also it's like worry. You worry a lot, it goes right to the lining in your tummy. Do it enough, you get an ulcer. So it's kind of like it's hand in glove. There's an octave of toxins in emotions, and there's all kinds of toxins in the physical realms, and toxins amplify each other. And they sure do a number on your body. And the FLC syndrome.
Yeah. Feel like crud. We'll change it up a bit. Feel like crud. This is really interesting. So if we're not feeling good, oftentimes, like if we go see someone like a doctor, which is what you should do, they're like, oh, I don't know, or you need to take a certain medication, which is fine. But oftentimes it's like there's not really a general source that people can, discover. It's not like, okay, it's this or it's that. It's like this general malaise. How does the frequency work actually help with that? And one of the things I want to do, I want to test a feature to be able to play some of these frequencies. I'm going to try it a little different way. So I like to see if everybody can hear one of these, but I want to share, like, when you work with frequency, what is the underlying methodology, and what are some of the things that we've brought into this that are seeming to help folks? And then I want to get into ancestral energies and a lot of other stuff. But tell me about the frequency work as it relates to what we're doing here.
Okay. Hmm. As the how to put it,
It's a
health
big one. That's
balance.
why I want to actually play one too, because we're gonna get to play a couple. You're gonna get to feel it because it's sometimes without words what happens here. But go ahead, Jill.
Yeah. Health is balance. And so there's two things going on. You need a balance of all frequencies, and then each frequency can have a positive and negative manifestation. Think of positive as being supportive of life, and negative as not being supportive of life. Like breath, the in breath you receive, out breath you give out. So it's like
Yes.
almost birth and death. And with the toxins, they come in and they I don't know what to say other than they clog up every single system, and they create inflammation in every place in your body, which is the precursor to most every disease. As you age, your body's natural detoxification processes, which are quite a few, your kidneys, your liver, circulation, methylation. And then you have a lot of minerals and nutrients, like you have chelators like zinc, vitamin C, NAC, etc. And these are nutrients that we can amplify through resonation, and we do in the music, that are kind of like grabbers. So they'll be going through different places in your body, and they'll grab the toxins, and then the circulation system amplifies the flow so that the toxins can find their way out of their body. And then
Uh,
many of the frequencies, um, or supplement frequencies, have multiple effects. So
okay.
many of them, they'll support the own detoxification process in the body, but they'll also support like a immune system. And that's important because when you detox a lot, you want to be healthy, and you want to be detox at a pretty regular rate. So like listen to the music once a day, but not more, because you want to regulate how much of the negativity you leave because you feel it on the way out.
Right.
So
It's kind of like detoxing, you don't want to go do too much because then it's like you're going to kind of feel this detox effect. Now, Joe, I'm going to ask both. I'm a little really wanting to test my audio to make sure we can get them to play. So I'd like to do that, but I'm asking everyone, what is it that you're going through? And maybe we can pick an audio today and a couple that could help people. So I'm going to read some things going on here. Christine Sorensen, thank you for being here, Christine. She was the first one on. She says hands, feet, and neck are cramping and locking up. Stephanie M, gastrointestinal issues. Judith Gay, allergies from this time of year. So keep sharing with us. And as we look at some of the frequencies that we can play, we've got some samples. We'll see which ones maybe might help some of these different areas for people. So keep sharing with us. And Jill, I'd like to play a sample track if you don't mind. I want to also see if we can get it to hear. Another person's got electrical. Carmel says electrical toxicity. So that's something else we probably should get into. iPhone user 137, hello 137, inflammation in joints. we did not talk yet about 5G, EMF, all the other kind of electro smog issues that we see around the world. That's another area of toxicity, right? It's moving
Mhm.
through our body continuously.
Yes. So do you want me to comment on them? Or
Yeah, please. I mean, how
okay,
does that fit into some of the vibrational
sure,
detox energy that we're going to be
sure.
sharing with
Okay.
folks?
Many of the the chemicals, the nutrients, the amino acids, the proteins, etc., in the music soften the muscle tissues, but also it's the body's own natural process to release toxins in those areas. In addition, when we have a lot of sugar, so sugar's in almost every food we eat, it's mainly high fructose corn syrup, which is not good for us. And
Okay.
as we build this up, it is trying to digest in our intestines and it gives off ethyl alcohol. So we don't get the good part of drinking. It gives you the hangover and it creates all those foggy headache kind of not feeling good, the FLC syndrome. And then all of that sugar turns into that alcohol and then it gets sent off to the liver. So even if you do something as simple as uh, like sugar, you're going to have a lot of gas, diarrhea, constipation, bloating. Those kind of problems are going to come from the sugar. I have frequencies in the music, thanks to Sherry Edwards from Sound Health Options, to deter the desire for sugar and alcohol. I have that in maybe half the
Oh,
tracks.
okay.
In addition, the body's supporting the liver, and when we're supporting the liver, which obviously detoxes,
Okay.
I'd have to say the MVP, excuse me, the MVP, the most valuable
MVP, most valuable
player
player. I was
is glutathione.
okay.
Okay, so glutathione is your body's major antioxidant,
Mm,
and it is extremely uh, powerful in detoxing. So um, it enhances, like prevents cancer, it fights diabetes, it supports your immune system, psoriasis, rheumatoid arthritis. So it has all these other things. But the big thing we're interested in is that it supports the liver and it's one of the major bionutrients that detoxes in your body.
thank
So,
you. Thank you. Well, we're going to dive in. We've got a lot of comments coming in. Stinar says lack of financial abundance. Exhaustion, says Tatiana. We've got inflammation and lots of other things that we shared previously. Joe, I'd like to choose one and play it into the audience here and out into the world. So let me open one up here. Which one would you recommend based on some of the things? And we're not going to be able to get to everything, but based on some of the things we heard, what would be a good general kind of frequency sample clip to play in?
um, I got a fun one. How about Friday night?
Okay, I got Friday night. Now, do you want to share anything about that or do you want me to just go
Yeah,
right
sure,
in? Okay.
sure, absolutely. Okay, Friday night. Um, well, something that we haven't talked about, but it's got two different methods of detoxification. And one is
Huh.
kind of the ancient method where you're working on the flow. And there
Okay.
are two different frequencies that are like a GPS system. So
Hmm.
um, I'm working on the spine, the vertebrae. And so you get the frequencies of the spine and you combine them with a frequency that attaches to toxins and three frequencies.
Frequent.
So I'm working specifically on detoxing the spine and the nerves in this one. And then in addition, kind of another way of healing and detoxing with sound is the reducing cravings for sugar and alcohol, glutathione or MVP, zinc, which is a binder. So zinc goes in and like gobbles up bad things, and then you excrete it out. Nitric oxide, found in beets. That's good for circulation, blood pressure, because you can't have blockages if you're going to get rid of this stuff. There's citrulline malate, all these big words, but that helps produce nitric oxide, decreases muscle soreness, which someone mentioned. And selenium. Selenium's a mineral and an antioxidant. And so an antioxidant helps prevent against cancers or certain cancers by getting rid of free radicals, but it also protects heart disease, mental decline, supports the thyroid, boosts the immune, reduces asthma, and it's just a big one in detox. So that's what's in Friday night.
That's what's in Friday night. Okay, so here's where everyone is going to help me today. Jill, you particularly, I need a big thumbs up, really bright and easy to see. If y'all can hear this, I'm going to do this a little differently. I'm just going to open it in my computer and play it. So you guys will be seeing me. So let me know if you can hear this. And this is 2 minutes, 8 seconds. So here we go. Friday night. Let's see. So let me ask everyone, did that feel like 2 minutes to you or a lot longer? Felt like it was like 30 minutes, maybe 15. Because for me, it felt like there was like two sections to that. There was like a little more aggressive sort of like, felt like it was kind of breaking stuff up. And it was, just kind of going through and I was feeling it. And then there was another part where there was like just a break and this was where it's like the cleanup, and I don't know if I'm wrong on that or that was just my impression, but it's very interesting. Jill, anything you want to share, and let me know, everyone down below, like what you're feeling, because what's interesting is we're not just listening to music. You may say, well, that's an interesting melody, or why does it sound like that? How many different frequencies are in that one particular track that we heard?
I would say probably about 35 or 40.
40. So that's why when you're listening to it, you're like, well, this is different because this is like a vibrational tincture, right? Like a vibrational formulation that it sounds pleasing to listen to, but there's so much going on vibrationally that it's unlike anything you
I
may
do
have heard.
mask it. So first of all, think of your body. It receives frequencies all the time. Maybe it gets 1,000 frequencies at a time. Everything vibrates. And its communication is frequencies, maybe numbers expressed as frequencies. Or think of Morse code. So it has this complex issue of sound. And so I felt extremely comfortable putting a whole lot into this because that's what your body's used to doing. So I
Yes.
have the frequencies in the old methods where I kind of talked about a GPS where we're going after the spine and
Mhm.
the nerves and cleansing them. And then I also go in and do it that other way, in which we go in with the glutathione and the nutrients to help your natural systems detox. So there's things like glutathione, and there's many more like lipoic acid. I mean, there's tons of them that
Wow.
get rid of ivermectin, gets rid of parasites for the bloating
Yep.
and stuff. So there's tons of things that directly go after toxins. And then there's a bunch of other stuff that goes after the systems and rebuilding your body's own natural ability to detoxify. So
Mm.
my thinking is if we support the body's ability to detoxify when you turn off that music, the healing lasts longer.
Yes. And I got to share, we've got tons of comments. We're going to slowly cut the live stream for the people that are not y'all, but well, the people that are on X and YouTube and Facebook. So if you like this, or you're like, boy, I want to hear the three more that we might play, you're going to want to go to our listening page at uwealthrevolution.com/Jill29. That's where you're going to find the replay. But let me share what people are saying real quick before I cut the stream for the public. Wow, that was nice. My body was tingly all over. My joints were popping in the first part, says Judith. The first comment was Christine. Thank you, Christine. Stephanie, I felt it through my chest, then my head, then down my feet. Another person, it felt like a minute. Awesome. My ears feel like I'm in an airplane now. Okay, we got to get those ears to pop. I feel energized. I feel like my body was moving while I was listening. I felt a wave of peaceful energy, says Heather. That felt like everything was tingly and in flow, says Barb. I felt a wave of energy down my spine, says Heather. Tatiana, wow, that was powerful. I started coughing. So, yeah, we've got more to share. Amazing stuff happening. Check out the link and grab the beautiful rest of